Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at this guy right here. This is V1 Storm Shadow from 1984. Now, I've been wanting to pick this guy up for a while. As some of you guys know, I'm a huge Storm Shadow fan. Storm Shadow is my favorite G.I. Joe character, and I've been, over the last few years, slowly building up a decent collection of Storm Shadow figures. Of course, my ultimate goal is to try and have one of every Storm Shadow figure ever made, at least in the 3 3/4 inch to 4 inch scale anyway. And obviously, really any G.I. Joe collection, period, but especially a G.I. Joe Storm Shadow collection. A V1 Storm Shadow is the most important one that you can have in your collection. So, been looking for him for quite a while. Didn't want to spend an enormous amount of money, but wanted one that was in good condition with as many of the accessories as possible. So I've been searching around, and if you've ever looked for this guy before, you know, in unbroken, complete condition, you know, he can go for $80 and up. And I feel like I got lucky with this one. You know, he's missing his nunchucks and his bow, but he does have his backpack and his 2 swords. He is complete as far as not having anything missing off of him. You know, no broken crotch, no broken thumbs. He's got very tight joints, in good shape. And I'm not looking for a perfect condition example on my shelf, but I want one pretty close. And I was able to pick this one up for $23 on eBay. So I felt really, really lucky on that. But of course, as you can see, he is rather yellowed. And while it doesn't bother me that much, I'd like to see if I can kind of clean it up a little bit and kind of bring at least some of the white back. And you can kind of see there, if you compare to the paint that's used to paint the arms there, he looks tan. And to kind of give you an example, this is my version 6 Storm Shadow, and you can see he's actually white, which is what he should look like. So of course he doesn't. So what I'm going to be doing for this video is doing a before and after on this guy. I'm going to be giving this guy the kind of basic hydrogen peroxide treatment, which I have used before on vintage Star Wars figures like, you know, stormtroopers and things like that. And it usually works pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy in hydrogen peroxide, leave him out in the sun for who knows how long it'll take, and see if we can bring back some of that white color that he should have, more like this. I'm almost positive I will not be able to get him this color here, but certainly better than what he is now. So without further ado, and through the magic of filmmaking, we're going to go ahead and do a quick jump ahead in time, and I'm going to show you what this looks like, what the end result is of trying to bring a little bit of brightness back to this figure. And here we are, all done. This is the after. Now, of course, he is not perfectly bright white, and as I said, I knew that wasn't going to happen. The things I would have need to have done to get him perfectly bright white could have possibly damaged the plastic, and certainly would have damaged any painted parts that are on there now. You know, you've got the black, you've got the Cobra logo, you've got a little silver on the buckle there, and to get him completely white would have damaged all that. I would have had to repaint it, everything, and I don't want to do that. I want to leave him as original as possible. Now, of course, if you've got one of these, you could certainly repaint him. I've seen people do that. I personally don't like the results when I've seen it done. I don't think it comes out very well, in my opinion. So that's not something I'm going to do. In fact, I'm not even going to touch up the paint on a couple little areas there. I mean, he looks pretty good as is. And to do a quick little comparison here, we'll do a before and after shot of what he looks like, so that you guys can kind of get an idea of how much he has changed here. So that shows you how much he has lightened up, and it's not a lot, but it is more than significant enough for my personal preference, and I think he looks significantly better. Now, of course, you know, to bring our comparison back in, you can see there is still quite a difference between these two. Would be nice if I could get him to this shade of white, but again, as I said, that would require a lot of things that might damage him in ways that I'm not willing to do. So we're going to leave him as is. Now, to quickly kind of go over what I did, it was a two-step process. I'll show you a picture here of me putting him outside in a hydrogen bath. And as you see here, you know, I just put him in a clear plastic bag filled with hydrogen peroxide, left him out in the sun for the day. Nice bright sun here in South Texas in June, so it worked pretty well. Lightened them up a lot. Then when I got the parts back in, I washed them off, and then I went over them with some OxiClean and Dawn mixed in hot water and just cleaned it up. And this is what we get here. And in fact, one of the cool things about it, and I don't know how well this comes off on camera, but there's actually a shine to the plastic now that wasn't there when I first got this figure, but that is very reminiscent of how this figure would have looked when it was brand new. So I'm glad I got some of that shine back to the plastic. But yeah, like I said, man, this is it. It's finished up. Looks more than good enough for my personal preference, for my display. You know, do what you want with yours. If this is something you're watching because you're thinking about doing this, the hydrogen peroxide and then Dawn and OxiClean bath isn't going to damage the figures. You can see the painted parts are still painted. Didn't damage anything there on the arms here, on the white or the black on the belt. Even the silver bits that are still there on the buckle on the belt look great. The Cobra logo is still there, nice and crisp as it was when I first got it. He still looks really good, and we did lighten him up several shades so that he's a little bit closer to his original white than he was when I got him. And yeah, I'm just real happy to have this guy in my growing Storm Shadow collection. As I said, it's V1 Storm Shadow. He's kind of the most important one that you have to have in your collection, and I'm very, very happy that he will get to sit front and center on my Storm Shadow display. So that is it, guys. Appreciate you watching. You got any questions or comments, leave that stuff down below. And as always, guys, always remember to enjoy your collection.